Mickey, you're a firework. Or at the very least, you'll help to set them off.
That's a bit of an intro there. Didn't figure we were getting some Katy Perry in there.
That song was from the late 2000s, which fits the time period, I suppose.
Oh my god, it really is from the late 2000s. I'm old. We're old.
We are all old.
Not as old as Oswald, though. Nor nearly as grumpy. So, welcome to the crazy difficult platforming portion of the end game. I may be overstating it, but it is fairly hard and occasionally quite cheap. I don't think there have been that many speedruns of this game which have not experienced at least one death during this part.
They went and did a meat circus, did they?
Certainly in the sense that it is about as poorly playtested as Meat Circus was.
Yeah, it seems like platformers, they always feel like they ought to end with, like it's been a pretty smooth progression so far, things have been pretty well challenging, and then suddenly they just hit you with, like, not so much a difficulty spike as a difficulty cliff.
I just love the idea that poorly designed final levels that they ran out of time to test properly is like a conscious design choice, as opposed to just something that happens in the business.
I mean, I'm guessing that if anyone does a throwback game to these kinds of games, they will probably do a poorly designed final level, and then they'll be all nudge, nudge, wink, wink about it.
Anyway, the other main gimmick about this area, you may remember how when we were going through with the Moonliner rocket, that the Shadow Blot was absorbing the paint from the Moonliner.
Yeah.
And that is also a gameplay mechanic here. There will be sections where we will have to fend off the Bloticles temporarily by painting an object in front of them. But that just sets off a timer because, of course, the Blot absorbs the paint. So it buys us some time to get past them.
I see they're doing the collapsing platforms thing.
Yep.
So at least in this game, you can, recreate platforms, so it's not quite as bad.
For whatever reason, the trigger for this area is like on a specific portion of the chandelier.
Yeah, it's super sensitive.
Yep.
What do you mean you don't remember it being so powerful and scary? Like, you saw him, he was huge!
I think Gus was just deliberately trying to forget.
Like, he was like, give me your heart or I'm gonna kill him.
Well, I realize that this plan that Oswald has come up with does not actually involve rescuing Mickey's heart in any way, or at least just by proxy.
My question is, if the Blot has Mickey's heart, why isn't he just using it to escape?
I don't think he's powerful enough yet. I mean, he can do many things, but he can't really fly, or at least, go past whatever the wasteland version is of the atmosphere.
That seems like a strange limitation, considering, yeah, he's kind of big.
Look, it makes the scene more dramatic. That's the most important thing. So there are 3 fireworks control towers, and at each one we have to power the crystal in the middle, and that involves turning these gargoyles over and painting in their heads.
So I'm guessing you can't damage the Blot in this sequence?
No, the Blot is completely invincible.
And I'm not seeing any health recovery here, so, just curious, how far do you go back if you happen to get killed?
There's a checkpoint right before here. like before that cutscene that introduced the crystal.
Are you sure that this was a fireworks show, or was Oswald just doing artillery fire on those citizens for fun?
Yes.
It was better for the budget to combine the entertainment and also the military budget into like one. So the fireworks show is also his missile salvo. Yep. As I mentioned before, there are no more e-tickets left because there's no point. You can't use them anymore. I appreciate that little bit of detail.
Also, the next place we're going to is called Grief Tower.
Yes. The tower we just went to was Sorrow Tower.
Nothing goes together quite as well as fireworks and being morose, I guess.
I'm sure they're just names.
They're the much renowned goth fireworks. Anyway, this is actually a regular 2D level that's just a bit more vertical than usual. There is no threat from the water. It doesn't actually rise up or anything.
What about those guys pouring out buckets of water?
Oh yeah, that definitely will hurt, as I'm demonstrating here.
I didn't know that Mickey hated baths that much.
Well, I mean, he definitely has a fear of drowning, considering what happened during The Sorcerer's Apprentice. I'm pretty sure anyone would be aquaphobic after that.
Here we go, kids. Grief Tower!
Bring your family! But they charge extra for the counseling. That's where they get you. And this is our first proper introduction to painting in objects to buy you some precious time against the bloodicles.
It does seem like Thinner is sort of being left in the lurch here. Considering that you can't actually harm these things.
Well, there's plenty of combat left against regular enemies, so you can use Thinner there.
Okay, but what about that suit of armor?
Oh, that's just decorative. It's actually it's not a breakable object, but it's one of the ones that you can manipulate for extra paint or thinner or health if you need it.
I see. It just seemed weird to me that they'd have something that was so distinctive and shiny, and then you don't do anything with it.
We actually saw those specific suits of armor during our first trip through Dark Beauty Castle in the very first video.
Provided you know what you're doing, this doesn't actually seem too bad.
I don't remember if it's this one or the one after that, but there's one that has a specific kill plane that I always get tripped up by. No, wait, it's this one. It's this one coming up in about, 30 seconds or so.
Yeah, I can see where some of this is frustrating. And that is creepy.
And I think it's this jump, or maybe the one after that, where it's a kill plane I forget about. There it is.
Oh, wow. That is unforgiving.
Yeah, and the last checkpoint is back at the projector in the Stardew Tower. I remembered this time. Gotta jump back to the other platform, otherwise it's an instant kill.
They didn't test this at all, did they?
Am I wrong in feeling like they poured most of the atmosphere they wanted to go for with this game into this final level?
I mean, that's... I don't know for sure, but it's, you know, a reasonable hypothesis. This is also me discovering that watch sketches are not especially useful here.
Yeah, like, this whole aesthetic here is actually kind of neat.
Though it is, to be fair, a little monochromatic. Perhaps a bit too much blue.
It does kind of feel like a day for night shot, doesn't it?
Kind of, yeah. By the way, did you notice I hadn't fully put in that other gargoyle yet?
Yeah, I was just about to
Sure.
say.
And I completely missed that.
Well, I'm sure that clued you in.
Thankfully, you don't really need to deal with these enemies all that much because they will die as soon as the crystal is charged.
So just distract them with TV while you go off to do other things.
Yeah,
It's like managing kids.
exactly. See, it's all a metaphor for Mickey becoming a single father.
Wait, did Minnie die in the car with Goofy's son?
Oh.
But Max was also in the car.
Okay.
Any ideas what this next tower is called?
Mourning? Or, no, acceptance.
Well, we've already had grief and sorrow.
Bargaining.
What are similar adjectives to that? Or nouns? sorry.
I don't know, but I kind of hope you get to stop at the hot topic between this and the next one.
Just kidding.
Lost
It's
Tower? Oh my god.
Oh,
You just can't escape it.
Oswald, buddy, she's not coming back. Stop renaming things.
Anyway, so this is not actually an auto-scroller. You don't have to wait for the water to rise, except if you want to get the film reel. Because there's a specific area where the film reel is that you cannot jump to normally until the water has risen to a specific height.
So, effectively, if you're good at this game, you're going to be doing a lot of waiting.
Yeah, this is always the section towards the end of the game and like a max percent speed run, where you know you're waiting on the water level to rise and you got about 45 to 60 seconds of downtime to rest your arms or whatnot.
I suppose that's nice.
Now the good news is that if you're going for any percent, you don't need to wait for this at all. You could just climb straight to the top.
And our speedrun is being aided by the use of editing software, it seems.
Ain't no rule on SRDC that says you can't use video editing software. At least not for this category.
I think that is a rule. Like, I think people have been busted for that.
For the sake of the joke, just pretend it's not. But yes, I too watch Carl Jobst. I know exactly what you're talking about. Anyway, welcome to Lost Tower. Thankfully, it is not a sequence of 4 squares in a rectangle.
I wonder, actually, this is going to be the 3rd fireworks display, so is this also the last tower?
It is the last tower. It also has a specific gimmick to this tower, which is just small arena fights. And I am going to be holding on to these tints because there's a specific room I want to use and those tints in, and it's not the first two.
I don't know if you could call arena fights a gimmick so much as just a level.
Well, for this game, it is kind of a gimmick because there haven't really been like outside of boss fights, there haven't really been that many areas where you're locked in a room and forced to defeat enemies. Like there's an optional one with Small Pete if you choose to fail his quest on purpose, but we didn't see that. And I can't really think of that many others. So for the purposes of this, being a mechanic that only shows up in a specific area or primarily shows up in that area, yeah, I would consider that a gimmick.
I mean, I guess it was enough of a gimmick for Hyrule Castle and Breath of the Wild.
Although thankfully you can end the arena fights with friendship paint.
I mean, you could end the arena fights in Breath of the Wild by using a so long sucker arrow.
Not very good for making friends, though.
Oh yeah, I suppose that you can't really befriend people that you shunted into an alternate plane of existence. Or disintegrated, I don't know which.
And I thought there was a chest down here, but it's actually the one after this, where there's a chest beneath the doorway to the arena.
Oh, that's sneaky.
So you could probably guess which enemy type I often find myself frustrated by, and which and fights against them are made much easier with the use of guardians.
You mean just the guys that run at you and try to bop at you, like I don't see how that could be difficult.
Yeah, I think I've mentioned this already, but paint and thinner supplies do partially regenerate. I think it's up to 1/3 of their capacity. I might have mentioned that much earlier in the LP and just forgot, but, well, good reminder. There's the chest.
Yeah, I mean, now's as good a time for mentioning it as any, just so that certain people who don't pay attention that well can keep up. I might be one of those people.
Another MacGuffin!
Collectibles aren't MacGuffins.
There are some people who take pin collecting very seriously, and I'm sure they like that game for that aspect of it. Oh, hey, it's a slobber. Unfortunately, the lock-on screws me over again, as we'll see here in a couple of seconds. It accidentally hit one of the spatters, even though I was standing directly in front of the slobber I wanted to hit.
Well, that's not that great.
Though I did discover that you can actually put paint into the mouth of a slobber who's watching TV, because they just stand there, with their jaw hanging open, and that counts.
That's kind of an interesting detail.
I've been playing this game on and off for 13 years, and I had no idea you could do that until just now.
Yeah, you've been playing this game the hard way, it seems.
And,
I mean, I can't say that I haven't had instances where I've been insisting on doing things the wrong way, and then it's just suddenly hits me like, oh, that's what you're supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm. I think everybody who has ever played a video game has had that experience.
And here's the final fireworks control tower.
But no sign of the blot.
Nope. Even Gus is suspicious.
Oh no, the fireworks are part of his evil plan all this time.
Oh, Gus, it's clearly not a trap.
Well, I don't know. It doesn't seem like anything's wrong yet. I'm sure nothing bad could possibly happen. But what you don't know is that all of those fireworks are actually nuclear warheads.
War. War never changes.
The UN refuses to recognize the wasteland as a nuclear power. Anyway, let's keep going. Oh no, it's the trap!
Who could have seen that coming?
Well, looks like it's time for our backup plan. Whatever that is. But time for a little set piece first.
Where'd the crystal go?
I don't know. By the way, you have about 5 seconds to pick up this piece of concept art. Otherwise, it's lost forever.
Ooh, that's sneaky.
That's a badass piece of concept art.
And for some reason, when you open this pin, the music glitches out. This is 100% consistent. Maybe it's just like exclusive to my copy of the game, but every time I've played through this game and gotten that pin, the music cuts out.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't make any sense after that whole dramatic sequence to give you the big, like, enthusiastic fanfare or whatever.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, this is one of the sneakier jumps. I actually don't know how you're supposed to use that chandelier over there, but this is how I've always done it. Oh yeah, I haven't brought this up until now, but this game actually uses the Gamebryo engine, mainly for narrative purposes. But not only that, it's the Wii version of the Gamebryo engine, which is pretty notorious for not working great.
What do you mean by Gamebryo for narrative purposes?
Well, because Gamebryo is the engine that Bethesda uses a lot, primarily because of how well it can handle branching paths.
Ah, I see. So it's basically being used to handle all the heavy load of keeping all the event flags in order.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Wii version of Gamebryo is even more notorious for being a complete glitchy, broken mess than the actual Gamebryo engine is.
Well, we have seen some occasions where, like, the quest triggers don't actually work in the right order like they oughta.
Yeah. No, honestly, I think it is kind of a miracle considering, you know, that they were using an in-house modified version of the Wii version of Gamebryo, that this game even controls half as well as it does.
Oh, yeah.
Makes me wonder why it is that they decided to do it that way.
I don't know, but it was... I think also at one point in development, the original Epic Mickey was also supposed to be multi-platform, and then at some point, development shifted for it to be Wii exclusive.
Oh, so kind of like Sonic Boom in that respect.
Yeah, except on a good console this time.
Sonic Boom was originally designed to be multi-console, but then it became also, like, shoehorned into the Wii U.
Incidentally, there's also a Wii U port of Epic Mickey 2, and it's awful. Even worse than the other versions. And the redemption arc is complete.
And I guess off screen,
Nope, very much on screen. As usual, plans foiled by dead batteries.
you know, that wasn't the joke I was going to make, but it's funny how that timing worked.
It really was perfect, wasn't it? Anyway, next video is the very last one about Epic Mickey 1, excluding the Epic Mickey 2 preview that I'm doing. So yeah, the last proper video in this Let's Play, where Mickey appears to have jumped inside the blot. I don't know what that's about.
Ooh, we're gonna have platforming inside some kind of like weird monster thingy.
Oh yes, this is
Oh.
an especially memorable part of the game, for both for good and for ill.
Oh boy.
20 minutes in Disney's equivalent of Silent Hill.
You are surprisingly close to the mark there, actually.
I feel like the Meat Circus comparisons might have not been off the mark after all.
Yeah, I asked you in the Discord whether you had played certain games. This is why. We'll get to that next week, or maybe later in the week, depending on the scheduling.